Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world. Welcome back to another edition of the Ride to the Rink. We've got a great guest with us today. Lindsay Pennal is here. She runs the NHL Coaches Association, and she just did a full episode with us of Our Girls Play Hockey. I actually implore you all to go check that out. But for you, the kids today, we got a couple questions for Lindsay to talk to you. Lindsay, why don't we first talk about what the NHL Coaches Association is and what you do there?
That's a great question because a lot of people have never heard of us, and that is by design because what we do is we help all of the coaches in the NHL. So the head coaches, the assistant coaches, the goaltending coaches, and the video coaches. And when I say help them, it's with everything off the ice. I'm not helping them with lines and anything to do with their own team. Where I help them is with their employment contracts, with their health insurance, with all the kind of boring stuff behind the scenes, but is really important for them to do their job working with their players well. So that's why we are behind the scenes, because all of that stuff is really private to each of those coaches. But the fun part that I get to do with our coaches is help other hockey coaches at all different levels and from around the world get better too. I'm so fortunate I get to work with the best in the NHL, but they want to share their advice with everybody else out there as well to help the global coaching community get better. So that's really what I do with the NHLCA.
Well, I love it. And, again, kids, Lindsay's a trailblazer. And I think what's cool about you being a trailblazer is you've helped so many other trailblazers, right? And in our main episode, you talked about some of your guiding principles, not just as a leader, but as a person, and how they're kind of shared across the board with other leaders. Can you dive into those for the kids and let's talk about them for a minute?
So I think to achieve success, whatever success is, right? Winning tonight's game, winning the tournament, accelerating through your career once you finish school and you've gone on to the working world, whatever success is to you, I think there's three things that you really need to keep in mind and focus on. And for me, they're really my core principles of how I show up in my job, with my family, and with my friends. And it is, those three things are to work hard, to be kind, and to stay curious. And so, when I say stay curious, it means continue to be a lifelong learner. Never think that you know everything. Nobody ever knows everything. And if you think you do, you're going to get left behind because the game's advancing, the world is advancing. So always stay curious and keep learning.
And what I love about that answer is you didn't say score goals, win trophies, make the AAA team. Those are the results of working hard, being kind, and being curious, right? And again, kids listening, this is not something we're just saying to kind of be fluffy and nice. These are the keys to success. Lindsay is at the pinnacle of the game. The guests that we bring on know what they're talking about. So again, work hard, be kind, lifelong learner. We talked about that, right? I always say, Lindsay, I think it's tough when you're in school to say, well, I'm learning all the time now. And I always say to the young kids, you'll be surprised how when you're kind of a little separated from school, how much you miss that aspect of it. You'll start to look for learning, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. You've always got to continue to learn. And I love what you said, though, about it's not just score goals, win the game. Like what I hear from our coaches, when I say our coaches, I mean Stanley Cup-winning coaches like John Cooper, like Jared Bednar, like Bruce Cassidy, the guys who have won that cup in the past handful of years. They don't go into the dressing room before a big game in February and say, hey, we're going to try to win the Stanley Cup tonight. They're like, hey, we're going to try to win tonight's game. Keep your head where your feet are. Keep your head where your skates are, right? Stay in that moment. Prepare for that moment. And forget about the long-term end result. Because if you're doing those things, if you're working hard, you're being kind to your teammates, to your coaches, to everybody in your ecosystem around you, and you're staying curious, you're trying to learn, you will achieve whatever success that you set your mind to.
It's just such fantastic advice. And kids, remember, the journey to being in your skates or in your shoes or being present takes practice, right? It's not something you can just snap your fingers and do. That's part of the journey as well. And I said it on our main episode. I'm going to say it again for you kids. It's not about being AAA. It's about being triple L, lifelong learner. Lindsay Pennal, just an amazing guest. Thank you so much for sharing some time with our kids today.
My pleasure. Go get it. Go crush it. Win the day.
I love it. All right, kids, that's going to do it for the ride to the rink, wherever you're at, on the way to the rink, on the way to camp, wherever you're going. We believe in you. You should too. And remember, if you have a question for us, text us. There's a link in the description. Click it, text us, and we'll get back to you, or tell your parents to email us, team@ourkidsplayhockey. For that, we're going to end the episode of this edition of the Ride to the Rink. Remember to have fun and skate on. Take care, everybody.